Yet another episode. And to steal a saying from hockey, we are back at full strength. It has been a considerable amount of time, given various illnesses and life events, uh, to
We
have the
weren't
whole
even here
crew
last
together.
week.
So it's good to be back. Excited to see everybody. And this week we're going to be talking about Kathleen Kennedy and her exit from Lucasfilm and Disney. I think she's stepping back to a producer role, if I remember correctly, but we'll get more in depth into that later. Uh, First things first, it's good to see you guys.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, it is
I
actually
missed you
wild to
guys.
see all 4 chairs full again, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It has. It's been some wild times too going on, in the nerdverse of all things. Like we'd mentioned, the show's going to be about Kathleen Kennedy. That's nuts. A big thing I saw that really surprised me currently, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was all a big hoopla, AI and nonsense like that. But I guess Henry Cavill really did make a Highlander movie.
Yeah,
That was real?
yes.
That was real. Yeah.
Are y'all? Did y'all not know that? Did y'all
I
not
did
literally
not.
know that was
Believe it.
real?
No, that's one.
I
Yeah,
didn't
that's
believe it.
100% been a thing.
He's been working, and the stunt action, like the guy from John Wick is either like the director or he's like doing the stunt
He's the
coordination
director. Yeah.
on the yeah.
I thought it was all like a joke,
Guys
dude.
are
I'm not
insane.
lying.
No, that's been a real
For-
thing.
yes, for a good
like,
while.
Even, yeah,
He
even
got
I knew that
injured.
was
He got
real.
injured on the set and had to like stop for a while.
I know,
Yeah,
but I
okay.
thought it was
break-
all
Did he
bullshit.
break his wrist or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Listen, I know we have a whole bunch of like nerd news that we need to chew through before we get to Kennedy, right? But I want to talk. I did not think this Highlander movie was real.
I didn't at
There's a-
all. Like, I'm not joking.
I thought it was AI bullshit. I really did. I didn't pay any attention. We're looking at not just Henry Cavill, but Dave Bautista, Jason Connery, Kevin McKidd, like Justin Lin. Like,
I want to see them bring Aiden Paul back to be,
I want to
McLeod.
see them bring
Connor
Jake
McLeod.
Paul in.
whoa,
Just
wait a
kidding.
minute.
I hate Jake Paul.
Why?
Okay.
Why is Google listing Keanu Reeves? Is
'Cause
he
he's
in this
in it?
movie?
Yeah, he's
I don't
probably
know who's
playing.
in
He's
it.
probably playing the Egyptian Spaniard with the Scottish accent.
I have no clue.
I mean,
who's
well,
in it.
he's actually immortal, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fair. You
so
got to
I
bring
don't-
in. Maybe
yeah,
it's just
Paul Rudd's also going to be in
Yeah.
there somewhere.
they're just consulting. Like they need
Yeah.
to know what it was like.
This is how you
But on a
don't
for real note,
age.
Very excited. And Henry Cavill's been kind of tabbed with all kinds of series lately. So to me, that's why it was so hard to believe. I've seen captions of him supposedly doing all kinds of different movies and work. So very excited for this Highlander movie. It's such a great series, such a great storyline. I mean, dudes hiding huge swords in trench coats of holding. That's what I refer to them as because there's no fucking way otherwise. And then just lobbing each other's head off and somehow not getting caught. Like, I don't even know. I don't remember how they did it. I was young. So very excited for this.
It's probably one of the biggest like cult classic franchises that ever
Yeah,
gets
it's
about. 'Cause
gotta
there's
be.
like
I-
four
I-
movies.
Oh,
I'm
no. There's
excited.
like 8.
Yeah, there's like 8 movies. And I'm
Jesus.
Do they
excited
eat-
for a reboot because the original story got so messy and convoluted because it was like different people telling different sections of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for
Out
like,
of-
a
Out of
reboot for that.
chronological order.
Yeah.
It did. Like the second one isn't the true second one. It's actually the last one. And like, yeah, it was wild. But this is the first series I can tell you that ended, like went from start to end. Like it went from Connor to I'm forgetting which McLeod is which because they always just called him McLeod. Connor to Duncan to the end of the series. Like literally, he was the last man standing.
Because there can only
so-
be one.
There
Right,
can
and
only
they
be
did
one.
it. They actually ended the series though. You can
Well,
watch
it's
the
One
final movie.
Highlander.
There's
They're compelled
that's
to kill
really
each other.
that's the big deal, right? Like this franchise and this fandom, it had a wild amount of, I guess, content. I'm gonna call it. It went all over the
It
place.
does.
It had some really heavy hitting cast members.
Sean Connery playing the
Yeah.
Egyptian Spaniard with the Scottish accent will kill me forever. Like that is such.
But
The
it's
only way that role would have been better if he had been wearing that like red outfit from that one sci-fi movie he did, where he's just holding the revolver in like the fucking banana hammock with the suspenders on.
oh yeah,
That should have been his armor for the Highlander movie. That would have made the image for me complete.
Zard. Zardoz.
Yeah, Zard. Yeah. I bet that's not. I bet he wasn't super happy to see that on his IMDb page.
That's a meme now. But that's what I mean by about Highlander, right? Like there can only be one is used everywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying I'm Batman. Like you know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about when you bring that up. And
Yeah, so that's my bit of news.
So we got
Mo-
Henry
yeah.
Cavill, we got Dave Bautista, and Russell Crowe. So they're
Mo-
keeping the trend
Moving
going.
on from Highlander, because we could talk about that for we could have a Highlander episode.
for
really.
sure.
Yeah,
we should do that. We should all watch the movies
We
and then have an episode.
Yeah, we
I'm
should
so
binge
down.
watch. We should do
I just
like
want-
something all of Mystery Science Theater 3000 with the Highlander movies because some of them are very bad.
That is a fact.
I wanted to bring up a couple cool things. You got a new Dragon Ball Super anime announced, as well as we got Wizards dropping the Commander decks for the Strixhaven set and the
Mhm.
Marvel set. And I'm definitely getting me that Doom deck.
Yeah.
Knew
Doom
you
prevails.
would. Knew you would.
Shocked I am not.
So yeah.
Doom's been one of your main boys for like decades at this point.
Are you getting the collector's like full holofoil one, or are you just gonna get the standard?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not. I'm
Bones
not
got that
necessarily,
kind of money.
I spent a lot of money on that Final Fantasy set. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm guilty of spending a lot on that.
Final Fantasy took a
I
chunk.
earmarked part of my end of year bonus for the Final Fantasy set. I was like,
and I get so mad about Magic and what they're doing, but then I'm like, I can't help myself.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's I have the same problem where it's like I cannot stand what WotC's doing with a lot of their IPs. Their business practices are predatory. Hasbro is a giant evil corporation.
who sends the Pinkertons after people?
Yeah, and I still keep giving them my money.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
But only for Wizard or only for Magic now. No more for
Yeah.
fucking D&D.
Nope. I might dip my toe into the Ninja Turtle set. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll probably get some
I will.
Ninja Turtles, so I'll probably get
I'm
some for
probably
her.
gonna have to dip my toe into the Ninja. I'm not gonna jump full in like I did the Final Fantasy one, but
Same.
my piece of news. Talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the episode when I was arguing with Eric. But this is going to be argument free because we both agree. First bit of news: Bill Belichick not a first round Hall of Famer, which is the stupidest decision that the NFL Hall of Fame committee could ever make. I'm staying mad about that, but I'm going to move on. That's my bit of sports news for those of you sports nerds out there. They snubbed Bill Belichick mostly because of the fact that Bill Belichick's not a likable guy.
Yep. That's
Which is
exactly
fine.
right.
Nobody paid him to be anyone's friend. They paid him to be a coach, but I digress. My second bit of news, Void War is no longer available on Steam.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
they had a
a
big lawsuit come down.
DMCA, the lawsuit's not yet. Cease and desist order was put out. DMCA, which is a digital media copyright act, was put in place from Games Workshop. Void War apparently was infringing upon some Warhammer 40k IP, allegedly. So that's going to have to get settled in court before the IP can be put back, or the game can get put back on Steam. Steam, of course, not wanting to violate any DMCA laws, so they went ahead and flagged it and pulled it in most places. So if you have Void War, you have it, but if you haven't bought Void War, well, you can't from Steam.
Well, not for nothing. For those of you that don't know, Void War is a indie RPG kind of sci-fi game where you take command of a spaceship.
Yeah.
And
And you have to save the Imperium of Man.
yeah, and I don't know if you've seen the art and that kind of stuff. I don't know that I blame GW on this one.
I mean, if they said Imperium of Man, they're fucked. I mean, that's way
Imperium
too.
of Man, a lot of the depictions of the ships are very eerily similar to a lot
The Space
of
Marines,
Space
like,
Marine cruisers. There's genetically enhanced super soldiers.
in big pauldron power armor. Like it's, yeah. This isn't like Power Word versus Pokemon, where Power World knew exactly what they were doing, what they were making fun of. This is a little on the nose. And I will support indie games all the live long day. I still do. But in this particular case, artistic choices were not in their favor.
No, that is we'll see how it all shakes out in court. There may be enough differences to protect them, but we'll see.
I just looked at the pictures. Yeah, there's not. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's like,
It ain't
They-
great.
they may have towed that line just a little too far. So those are my two pieces of news. If you own Void War, you may want to hang on to it. Obviously, don't
Mhm.
access it in case they pull it from you.
Save that on something external, man.
Yeah, because Void War may disappear. If you're a big fan of that game, that may be gone soon.
Because you don't own media anymore, folks. When
If
you
it's
buy a
copyright-
game,
if it's
you're
copyright
just buying.
infringement, if it's a copyright infringement, we're going to get into some crazy legal territory here. I still say if it's not a copyright infringement and you own a game, you should own a game. But
Now I am going
even
to
if it-
step
no,
in
I
right
mean-
here, and I'm going to let all of our listeners know none of us are lawyers. None of
No.
us are experts in this
these are
field.
personal opinions.
Even if it was copyright, I mean, if you bought the thing, it doesn't matter after the fact. Like you still paid money for that thing, unless they're going to reimburse you, unless GW is going to give you money back, which is unlikely.
Right.
Steam maybe
Unlikely.
you might be
No,
able to, like.
they charge $70 for a tank with no bottom.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
giving me money back.
On the
Still
subject
mad
of
at you,
giant evil
GW,
corporations.
Yes, still mad at you, GW, by the way, for not putting a bottom in your Rogel-Torn battle tank, you turds.
Hey, what do we got?
What a
Salamanders?
What a small pile of shame you have as I look over at like a huge stack of unopened
I don't wanna
boxes.
talk about it.
Oh man, my pile of shame's not terrible
Right,
until
honestly,
you start
Ryan's
looking at
is-
the paint.
Ryan's probably in the best shape.
Yeah. No, I have an entire army that still needs to be painted. That
It's
I
hard
I
to
have an
paint.
entire army still in a box.
I probably
Still-
have another. Let me make sure my wife's not around. I probably have like another 6,000 points of just Space Wolves, like not vehicles, just Space Wolves
Just
that need
boots.
to be assembled and painted.
Real quick before we get on to any of our stuff in regards to Kathleen Kennedy, I just want to say at some point we will do a Gundam episode. I know I haven't been great with content lately. I'm sorry, everybody. Don't hate on me.
I
But
thought
the
you were-
upside is everyone has been posting and commenting on our stuff a lot so far this year. So that's really exciting. Our Gundam clip has been going wild. I think we've had more comments on that clip than all of our other stuff on TikTok combined.
Yep.
So it's fucking wild. And real quick, what's everybody's favorite Gundam? I got Gundam Wing. It's it. Just throw it out there and then we'll move
Going
on.
with the classic. All right, I'm going Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Iron-Blooded
Okay.
Orphans for me.
Oh
For
man,
sure.
you know, Iron Blooded Orphans is really good, and I would say that, but I'm nostalgic, so I was gonna say Wing.
Wang.
So yeah, so in case anybody, I'll clip this so that way we can put it on our TikTok. But that was huge and our biggest one ever. So just want to say thank you to everybody and kind of bring it up. So
Last
Yeah, for
bit of
sure.
news: Royal Rumble is this weekend. January 31st is the Royal Rumble.
Ooh.
3 people in line as favorites to win it this year. So
Jake Paul.
he's not even in the top 5 from all of the stuff I've been reading. It's your boy LA Knight is in top contention. Yeah. Jimmy Uso, I hope not. And yeah, I hope not. I'm really hoping not.
You're not getting
And
tired
the
of
last
them
one
already, are
is
you?
yeah, and the last one being Seth Rollins. That's a big rumor mill one. We'll see. We'll see if Seth Rollins is healed and back. I
He
also have
won't
a
be. He
sneaking.
put that out.
Did he? Did he already announce that he's
Yeah.
not going to be there? It's fine.
Yeah, I was watching, or I saw a clip of it on Twitter.
I'm
or it was
I'm
X.
really hoping Chris Jericho makes his return to WWE at the Royal Rumble. I would absolutely pee my pants. I want one last farewell tour with Chris Jericho and WWE before he hangs up the boots. This is also going to be AJ Styles' last hurrah too. I have a feeling he's retiring at the Royal Rumble. His retirement tour kind of got overshadowed by Cena, which is not shocking, but AJ Styles has definitely been a mainstay in almost every wrestling promotion, and I will miss him dearly because he's probably one of the best in-ring performers of all time. I'd put him up there with Kurt Angle.
All right, so everybody, we're gonna get into the Kathleen Kennedy stuff.
Well, actually, let
I
me jump in
hate
real
her.
quick.
No, I'm just
I'm
kidding.
real
I
fast.
don't.
It's my only piece of news. And I want to bring it to everybody's attention. Now, obviously, if you're in the know, most of our viewers are actually going to be in the know. But tomorrow does mark the release date for Iron Lung, the movie. Now, this movie is actually made from an indie game. We love to support indie games here at Crossing the Nerdverse. It is being, if I understand it, basically directed by Mark Fishbach.
It's
And sorry, go ahead.
it's directed, starring everything by him.
It's also got Troy Baker, Sean McLaughlin, Carolyn Kaplan, and a great cast coming in to support it. I'm a big fan of this one for two reasons, guys. First, Iron Lung, the indie game, I think needs a lot of support. It's a fantastic game, and I would like to see it get as much love as humanly possible. This movie also does something that makes me very, very happy. This is only my personal view. This doesn't necessarily represent Crossing the Nerdverse at large. But this movie is being made kind of in the face of big Hollywood's traditional steps and procedures. It is catching a lot of flack for that. It is catching a lot of hate coming out of Hollywood and California for that. And now it is still being released tomorrow in over 3,000 theaters worldwide.
Oh, if y'all didn't know, just in case, Mark Fishback is just a little indie YouTube
Minor
streamer
YouTube
named
star.
Markiplier.
Oh,
Yeah.
that yeah.
Oh.
So that that clicked in on who that is for me.
Yeah. Markiplier's probably. I mean, he's got to be in
Kind-
top 10 YouTube channels of all time,
little
right?
little
Like,
maybe a little bit of popularity.
people know who he is, but yeah, I'm very excited about it. I will be going myself to make sure I can support it. And the more we can get indie stuff off the ground, whether it is video games, movies, or television shows, the better. So I encourage you all to check it out. And that's what I had. Let's get to Kathleen Kennedy.
All right, so probably one of the most controversial hires for a nerd IP I've ever really heard of. Just because she made some interesting statements early on, but she's been around a long time. She did a lot of work in the industry. She definitely earned the right to get the job. It wasn't just a handpicked job.
Yeah, that is true.
So I take nothing away from her in that sense. I thought she did a interesting job at Disney. But what were you gonna say, Travis?
So she was in fact handpicked. Lucas was the one that recommended her take over Lucasfilms when
Yep.
he sold to Disney. So that was his pick. I'm not saying it was the right pick. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that she said and did during her time as the head of Lucasfilms. But I mean, if we want to really get started on Kathleen Kennedy, she has been a producer on pretty much every like major
Everything by Spielberg or George
Lucas.
Lucas.
Yeah, she's
But-
been like a major producer for pretty much everybody's favorite IPs. So it's not shocking that she was his pick. I am a little shocked that she worked with Lucas and Spielberg so often and knew absolutely nothing about the IP.
Yeah. Well, and she's
But
because when you look at her filmography, right? Just her top IPs, you got E.T., you got Indiana
Yep.
Jones, you got Back to the Future.
Yep.
You got, she's worked with Clint Eastwood and Martin Scorsese, and I mean Jurassic Park. She's everywhere.
yeah, she's a very successful producer. Like she's probably one of the best producers in the industry. Speaking strictly from that role. Phenomenal job.
What's up, Bones?
Yeah. So I agree with all of that, and I think that therein lies the problem. She is a really good, essentially, project manager, with probably one of the best ever. But she lacked the creative,
to
long-term creative idea for what was going to happen in the Star Wars universe, like Lucas had. And Lucas changed, things as he went along too, but he still kind of had this creative thought process about what was going to happen down the line. And I think that perhaps maybe she might not be the most creative of people.
Yeah, being a good project manager doesn't always translate to good you have to have a sense of imagination. I would expect to basically be leading a franchise like that. You have to have a little bit of that.
So I think what really stank her was her ability to kind of dish out the workload. I think what ended up happening is she let a lot of people do projects, but maybe she didn't force them to communicate or something like that. Because if you look at it, the projects themselves, the standalones, are all incredible. Like if you look at like whoever the director is for Andor, I was reading something he wrote about her in the sense of the only reason that show is as good as it is because she let him run with it, and she really stayed out of the process with it. So I would actually be kind of curious to know if maybe that's sort of what happened with her time at um, the Star Wars IP. Because if you look, like, we can all argue the movies for days and days in regards to like not tying together and things of that nature. But if you kind of just take them as a standalone movie, the fight scenes were pretty good. Like they had pace to them. Now, we'll all agree that the storyline maybe got itchy and scratchy and stuff like that, but like the movies, just the pace, the cinematographic stuff, fucking big words. Everything was nice in the movies. There was no like, in my opinion, there was no. The biggest issue was just they didn't come together to make a good story. I think that was the biggest problem. But standalone, they were great. Like, think of the risk she took making Rogue One. Like, on a very, like, letting Rogue One get made, a movie completely devoid of anything Jedi, other than the one guy that says, "I am the Force is with me," or some shit like that.
He's a
Other
monk.
than that, like, right. But I'm just saying, like, his statement about the Force was the biggest show of Force. So, like, her allowing a risk like that to happen, it was the third best movie she made. I mean, it grossed like 1 billion worldwide. And then she even took
Good
another
movie.
risk with the Solo movie. Like, she let the Solo movie get made. Okay, that movie was a little. I think it needed
It
to
was all
be.
right.
I think
I
if they got
liked it.
to make a sequel, it would have been a lot better. I think part of the problem was is she let a lot of people do stuff, but she canceled things quickly, like the Acolyte, like the Han Solo movies. Like, I think she was very quick to pull the rug on stuff that had potential if you kind of let it tell the story out. You kind of sat down and got the beginning
I-
and nothing else.
I don't think the story. Well, there's some aspects to the story that for the Solo movie that I think hurt it. Specifically, not focusing on his ability as a pilot until he gets with Lando in the Millennium Falcon. He was a renowned pilot before he ever set foot in his most iconic ship, right? Like, he is literally the best pilot in the galaxy, right? Everybody establishes that. So not focusing on that early on was a little weird. The rest of it was fine. I think everybody's expectation was that it was going to be. Honestly, I think Harrison Ford being the iconic character or actor, I should say, to play the character also hurt the chances of it being successful because nobody you cast is going to be Harrison Ford. And I think that led to a lot of negative bias before the film was even finished being made. So it had some hiccups storytelling wise, but I think like I I I think pulling the rug on it was the right idea. I don't think it was a terrible movie, but I also wouldn't call it a big win.
So, as far as my opinion on this, obviously she's been involved with a lot of projects, and I think you're right. I think that she is a fantastic manager, and I know a lot of individuals, a lot of fans, really get prickly and bristly finding out that she's not like a fan of any individual IP, right? And this kind of begins to show in the way that like the way the fandom has treated the franchise. Obviously the ongoing joke is that the original trilogy, if it released today, would be torn apart. It'd be some of the worst Star Wars movies that we had. There are so many bizarre plot holes and things that the other movies don't get to get away with that she has to contend with. Now, when it comes to her major projects, obviously that she's got a bad reputation coming from Force Awakens and some of the sequel trilogy. However, it doesn't stop the fact that The Force Awakens remains one of the highest grossing domestic films ever at $936 million with over $2 billion worldwide. And I don't think she needs to be a fan in order to produce good stuff. I think she made really good decisions putting the people in charge of the projects that she did. Dave Filoni has become a face of the front of it, but she has a serious issue when dealing with fans, especially from our generation-ish era, right? And that's the fact that up until 1999, the only lore that we had to deal with was a lot of the novels and stuff. And the 90s novels did terrible, terrible things to Star Wars. They introduced wild plot lines. They introduced this ongoing extra galactic conflict, ignoring a lot of the established stuff. And it really gave Star Wars a bad taste, similar to what we find especially in D&D and RPG games. When there was a character that was presented in Star Wars, even in the prequel trilogy, suddenly that character's demeanor and what they did on screen defined the entire race's culture. The one I generally go to is the dude in the bar, right when Obi-Wan walks in and says, "Hey, do you want to buy some death sticks?" And he mind tricks him. Because of that scene, that species in Star Wars lore is now seen as wild con men. The entire race is now tied to that character's singular appearance. Kathleen Kennedy's movies did not have that problem. That is my biggest holdup for that kind of stuff. Now, was she responsible for it? No, but she put some people in charge that did do a good job stepping away from that. Oh yeah, all elves hate all dwarves aspect of world building. Now the story, you can't really defend the story in the sequel trilogies, in my opinion. There are people that love them, and if you're a big fan, more power to you. However, I love the fact that we got some actual in-galaxy stuff that wasn't about Yuuzhan Vong, all biomechanical extragalactic threat, throwing moons at Wookiees and stuff. The storylines got wild. The stuff that we've got under her, 14-year tenure, has instead been more along the lines of Andor, Mandalorian, and specifically Rogue One. I was a personal big fan of the Solo movie even. But it's hard to fight against the nostalgia of people who are used to the books and used to the original trilogies, because like Travis said, they're not going to be happy because it's not Harrison Ford.
Get it, Bones.
Okay. Where to start here? The Solo movie. Hot garbage. And not because it's not Harrison Ford, not because of any of those reasons, really. Because, like Roman Crow said, it had terrible dialogue. The writing was just not good, and it was 70 to 80% reshoots. Like it was a done movie basically that they remade almost completely. So anytime you do that, it like never ends well. Never does.
No, massive reshoots are always
a
big red flag.
And so, I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy. I think she did a lot of good things with the Star Wars IP. I know people are going to be bad about that, right? But I think that we put a lot of blame on her when there's other people that are above her that also should take a lot of that blame. Like we don't really talk about Bob Iger, but it's a lot of it his fault too, because he's the one that canceled a lot. Like you say, you mentioned Eric that like she like pulled the plug on a bunch of things. I'm not sure she did. I know the Andor thing. They pulled the plug because the episodes were so expensive and it was not popular enough, and that's what happened.
I think though she could have fought to keep certain things around if she wanted to. I'm not saying she did or didn't. I don't know for sure.
Depends on if she's got the decision-making ability for it.
At the end, Bob is the CEO of Disney, or was the CEO of Disney at the time, right? He has the decision to do whatever he wants.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And so, but she also, and I think like ever since you have J.J. Abrams for the first of this new trilogy. And he made the safest movie possible. It is the safest Star Wars nostalgia money grab you could have had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
The exact same story.
Yeah. We talked about this at length. Yeah, it's definitely the same.
I don't think that that's good.
No.
It could have been way better. But then
could have been much worse.
He left, and you had Rian Johnson doing the second one. Now this is like when you're planning a trilogy like this, maybe you should probably just stick with the same person, right? Because Rian Johnson came in and said, well, these are the story threads I have. I'm going to add some more story threads. I'm not going to deal with any of those. Or I mean, he did extend some of them, but like he changed the focus of the movie.
Yeah.
And then that didn't do good. Obviously, because I mean, I feel like it was kind of a confusing jumble there. And so they brought back J.J. Abrams again then for the third one. When you're like, why did you could have just let Rian Johnson finish it, right? Like, no, we're gonna go back. And those movies, like, not being good, in the sense that there was not too much connection, put a bad taste in everybody's mouth for everything that Kathleen Kennedy did from then on. Like, Andor was great.
Yep.
But the Acolyte was good. It was a good show. But everybody
That's what
hates
I'm
it because it's Kathleen Kennedy. You flipped. It was a good show. Like the fight.
I didn't like
the story.
it. I didn't like
the
it.
story had issues. The story had problems. But man, the fight choreography was some of the
Potential.
best we've seen in a Star Wars IP
I'll give you that.
since the prequel trilogy.
I'll give you that. I'll nod to that one. The fight choreography was amazing.
The story stuff, I think there was problems in it, but it could have been fixed with the second season. Like, it could have been made better.
But that's my thing with
I
all
think-
the Star
I-
Wars stuff they did,
oh,
though.
I
I had
honestly,
my hand
so
up before you. Hold on one
No,
sec.
you didn't. I'm looking
I
at the
did.
queue right now.
I did. But no, they could have fixed it though. Like, that's what I mean. A lot of the stories that, like, the shows they pulled and stuff like that, they were starters. It's like when you start a story and you don't let the person get to the end of the story. Like, why did we start the story then? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like Han Solo, yes, there was issues with the movie, but I definitely think if they could have carried it on, it could have got fixed. There's just different things like the Acolyte. Maybe there was some issues with the Acolyte. I didn't have any issues with it. It could have, but it would have got traction with the second season. They're starting new things. That's the thing. Like, it's all brand new things they're doing, like never done before. I mean, part of the reasons like Disney Plus did well is because of Star Wars and all the new content Star Wars kept putting out because of her. So that's a
the
big thing for me.
Mandalorian was a huge one for them.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
the next thing is the only thing I have with the Bob Iger thing, if he was pulling shows, then technically speaking, you'd have to also give him a lot of the credit too. So if we're going to take away the faults because of that,
No,
then you got to give him
that's
the.
not true.
But
that's not
that
that's
is
not true, at all,
true, because if
he's
he
not-
pulls
he's
shows, then-
only
He's
only
not-
pulling shows. He's not directing them. He's not directing
Yeah.
people to make the stuff.
But he could,
He's
but
just
he could
saying-
be
he's just
telling them to
saying,
keep
"That's
doing other
not-
shows.
That's not making money. Get rid of it. That's what he's doing.
But
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying
He's
is
like,
though,
that's-
is
well,
he?
yeah, okay, so he is greenlighting things to go forward. He's saying that one's
That's what I'm
making money.
saying.
Keep it going. But he's not any of the people that are on the ground like making these shows.
yeah. He's
No,
not
no,
doing
but I'm
any of the
saying-
writing. He's not doing
So-
any of the storyboard stuff. He's not
I was saying,
projecting.
a little bit of the credit for keeping some things going. I agree.
That's what I
But-
mean. Like,
But
you
way
have to look
more
at-
of the blame for canceling things.
I
for
don't know.
sure.
I think
No, I'm
I
with
think
Bones on this one, 100%.
I'll be the disagreeer then. I do think that he might have had influence on one or two of them, but my biggest thing will always be is at the end of the day, if she fought for him, she probably could have saved him. I think with her influence, she could have done it. There was probably the ability just because of everything going on and how much she did. There was one more thing I wanted to bring up about her. Oh, my only issue in regards to like her was the fact that she made the statement of there's no lore to build on, which was the most incorrect statement to make. Because I know Ryan didn't like the books. I love the books. The characters, everything in the books
Depends
was
on the books. Some of them
amazing.
are real bad.
There are a few that are bad, but that's any series you read. Like Stephen King made some bad novels. It's gonna happen. But there was a lot of good development, especially in the Jedi Order, the way it grew, the way some of the families grew on the side that weren't Luke Skywalker. Like Corran Horn was a rather interesting character, him and his wife and their kids. And then even Luke's kid and then Han Solo's kids. Like there was a lot of character development that was really good. The only thing I didn't like is they went back to the old stuff with Jace. But you couldn't do any of that with Kathleen Kennedy because the original characters were way too old, or the original actors and actresses were way too old by now, and you just couldn't do it. So all she needed to say was, we can't take that lore because a lot of it is from time that like just we can't do anymore.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
It's
actually,
definitely trapped.
yeah.
I think again one of the big problems, especially with the sequel trilogy of movies, and Kathleen Kennedy definitely had a hand in this one. is there was no consistent writer or writers. There was not a consistent team of writers. It was different writers for different portions for different movies, and that always leads to problems in any like franchise. Because you look at, I mean, perfect example is the different tone in all the Thor movies. That is a different team of writers for every Thor movie, and you're getting wildly different kind of looks, if that makes sense. Now, the reason the Iron Man movies were so consistent is because you had a consistent director for those, and Jon Favreau. And so, again, the same thing between Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, I think he did 3 as well, was James Gunn. You have a consistent director. He has a consistent vision. He knows what he wants to do with the story. And so, yeah, you can probably cycle a few writers in and out, specifically like script writers and stuff, and it not be too big of an issue. But having these massive sweeping changes with different directors, different writers, different, everything going from one movie to the next is always going to lead to disjointed storytelling because everybody's going to have their own vision that they want to enact. And I think that was my biggest complaint, was just the lack of consistent storytelling for the sequel trilogy. Because I had no problem. Ryan and I have talked about it in length. The galaxy is a massive place. We don't have to talk about the same 10 dudes.
Or the same 2 planets.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of like, everyone was like, Boba Fett's coming back in The Mandalorian. I'm like, do I care a bunch about Boba Fett? Not really. I want to see a whole bunch of other people, which is why I was excited. Have the nods. I don't mind the nostalgia factor of like, here's Boba Fett in the background who provides some advice or whatever. But I don't need to see action star Boba Fett anymore. I'm past that. You know what I mean? I like new characters. I like new stories. I like new villains. I will agree that the Acolyte had some good mysterious background villains that we didn't get to see developed. I do like that. I like that slow burn. I like the imposing unknown menace in the background with pulling strings. I love that shit. So I will give the Acolyte that nod. But yeah, I think the lack of consistent writers was one of the big problems that really soured people's taste for Kathleen Kennedy.
So as far as my opinion on that, y'all ready for me to piss off a whole bunch of nerds? So I am going to defend Boba Fett, and here's why. Now, I agree. Me and Travis have talked about it at length. New blood is fine. Boba Fett, I don't think falls into that category because his screen time was minimal. All of Boba Fett's story and development we got in comic books outside of it, having him have his own television show did not hurt my feelings at all. I am biased because Boba Fett's my main man, but I don't think he had enough development on screen time in other TV shows or movies to warrant him counting as an old fogey, so to speak, rehash in the Star Wars universe. Secondly, when it comes to the books and the established lore, the ironic part to me, and this is where I'm going to piss off a whole bunch of nerds, is that the main complaint about the movies that came out for Star Wars under Kathleen Kennedy, specifically the sequel trilogy, was that the main character, Rey, was seen very much as a Mary Sue. Every one of the Solo and Skywalker children in the books are Mary Sues. They're godlike Force users. All of them.
Not at all.
And read the books again, man. They can't fail.
I read them.
Yeah, they can't fail. They never do anything wrong. There's one that happens to be a drug-addled bounty hunter that flies around in his own ship. It's one of Solo's kids. The rest of them do force powers well beyond anything anybody's ever seen before. They're genius strategists. They're master weapons and pilots. All of them. And
they're all good at it. They're not masters of anything.
They were super OP in a lot of that stuff. I will agree with Ryan on that.
Anakin dies so early on. They were never
the Yuuzhan Vong War, by literally feeling everything in the Force but the Yuuzhan Vong, which he could not feel, giving him wild precognition for him to go ham for 2 hours straight. That's pretty wild. Like, that is an OP ability to just feel every molecule in the universe but the Yuuzhan Vong, and that gives him precognition for it. That's nuts, man. It's one thing. I'm gonna put it
He-
down
he
in
did
like
it to
layman's
die.
terms.
That's what. But he let it all out to die. Like that was the point. Like he wasn't going to live through it. So
Yeah,
like
but-
he
but
got an
that-
OP
That
power
doesn't change
to
the
die.
fact
Yeah,
that
dying
that's OP.
doesn't. Yeah, dying doesn't make you not a Mary Sue. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
they're
so-
not Mary Sue's. They train to get the
no, they're
powers.
100%. No.
Yeah.
They
Here's-
do the
here's
whole
the thing.
time. I read
Even-
like almost every book. They train the whole time.
Even if that's true, let's say that it is.
It is. Read the books.
Okay, that's fine. I have read the books, but it doesn't change the fact they were able to accomplish unbelievable feats that had never been seen before by any other character, despite how much they trained.
But the feats have been done. Like other characters do it.
So, but that's
No.
the problem.
Look at
That's the
Revan.
irony.
Nobody
Look at
did.
Revan.
All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the reins and pull us back to topic here, guys. That's the ironic part I find with Kathleen Kennedy is she catches fire for that by the same people that are wanting her to remake those books. They would not be received well. They would not be good movies. And while I liked a lot of them, I very much enjoyed them. I also enjoy animes like Solo Leveling and Shield Hero, where it's
Yeah, they're-
about OP main characters.
Yeah.
Um,
Isekais. They're my
yeah.
favorite slice of life anime.
Now, my big deal that I'm going to bring up for Kathleen Kennedy is going to be talking about Bob Seeger? Bob.
Bob
I agree.
Seger.
Bob
I lost it for a minute. Bob Saget.
Bob Saget.
So we actually see
Bob-
this in a lot of Disney's acquired IPs, not just in Star Wars. If y'all haven't noticed, with the exception of the last maybe 5 years, probably less than that, last 3 years, Marvel's had the exact same problem. You know, they pulled the mutants for a bunch of stuff. They would not do mutant content, despite the way that the licensing has worked. And then they made this giant push to try to replace mutants and the X-Men in Marvel with the Inhumans. Now, this is where it gets weird for me to say because I'm an Inhumans man. They're one of my favorite comics. I absolutely love them. However, they got mistreated by somebody that wasn't part of the creative team at all. They got mistreated by Ike Perlmutter. Now, there's a lot of allegations around Ike Perlmutter that we might talk about later. I doubt it, but it doesn't change the fact that he
I don't know who that is.
so he was a chairperson on Marvel's kind of board that made giant pushes to remove, how do I put this delicately, to remove X-Men and affiliated material for the reasons that X-Men and affiliated material were written about in the 60s, and tried to replace them with eugenic genetic storylines of the Inhumans. Now, you can draw whatever conclusions you want to from that information. It doesn't change the fact that he pushed for it hard to the point where we got shows like the Inhumans television show, which didn't have anything to do with the Inhumans and was not handled well at all. And it's all because this chairperson, who was not a fan of the IP, who was not part of the creative team, who was not a producer, director, or anyone involved, decided to stick his fingers in and start moving stuff around. I really think Kathleen Kennedy had the same problem. Now, Eric, you brought up her being able to fight for stuff and having influence. When you have somebody that's on the board doing that kind of stuff, you don't have that privilege. They can do whatever they feel like. And it only takes failing to get them noticed. Ike Perlmutter, miserable person, very unpleasant to work with by all accounts, was trying to push the Inhumans really, really hard. Then they lost all the money. And that's why we don't have any X-Men content before he left. And I think Kathleen Kennedy has the same problem. I don't think she could have fought any harder for one thing or another. Now, did she? I don't know. Right? She could have actually just done exactly what you were talking about. I don't have any information on that. But I do know that it was under her guidance that we got things like Dave Filoni, Lin-Manuel Brennan, and a lot of the good stuff that Jon Favreau, a lot of the good stuff that we got for this golden age of Star Wars that we've been enjoying was under Kathleen Kennedy for the last 14 years.
Oh man, so much every time this comes back around.
Yeah, the Q system's being weird this episode.
Yeah. So I mean, the Inhuman, as far as the Inhuman push goes, that was like 10 years ago when that ended. 2017 was like the end of that. So just we could have had mutant content by now. Just saying, little bit. But hopefully it's good. It's coming. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
As far as this era of Star Wars 2, one thing that we haven't talked about is the Star Wars publishing arm and how
Ooh, High Republic.
phenomenal it did. Like
Yep.
the Star Wars comic became like one of the, if not the highest grossing comic in American history. Like that's pretty significant.
Yeah,
And then now
that's
you have like
kick-ass, man.
the whole High Republic stuff as well, which is like comic books and novels, and all of that is also new content that didn't exist. It's new lore that we have that didn't really exist, except for kind of like on the tertiary, right? Like hinted at, or maybe a story here and there. Now we're getting all of that. So much so that we're actually seeing those characters popping up in different places too. So I think
Absolutely.
that is another thing that, we talk only about the shows, but like a lot of other things happened for Star Wars during this time. So the Jedi Survivor games, fucking great games. Fortunately, the closure of LucasArts, the game studio. We had the more recent Star Wars game that nobody likes.
But you see, Squadrons caught flight too, and I love Squadrons. Everybody hated that game.
But yeah, I just like my point is there's like there was a lot going on that is not just so to me it's like this is still a Star Wars golden era. Like it's a nice resurgence, and we're getting so much content. And whenever you get a bunch of content, like I think maybe the good to bad ratios are kind of off currently, but anytime you get a bunch of content like this, there is going to be a bunch of bad content that comes with the good content, right? Also, one more thing back to the Bob Iger thing. I know that when he came back, he was like, it was like, post COVID, right after COVID, and they were like trying to switch all the films to streaming, which also I think is a big thing that like harmed a lot of the content. The Boba Fett thing, Boba Fett was supposed to be a movie originally, and then they like turned it into a show. I think Obi-Wan was a really fucking boring show because of the pacing.
I loved it.
I like the story. The pacing's terrible, and there's actually a fan edit that cuts it down to about 2.5 hours, and like it's actually it should have just been a movie or maybe a miniseries. Like 3 episodes would have been probably fine.
Am I the only one that misses miniseries?
No, there's one on Netflix about Agatha Christie story. It was on Netflix just now that had 3 episodes, pretty good.
I like little miniseries, man. Just feed me a quick 3-episode story.
To tag on what you said though, Bones, in regard to literature, one thing I really love about what they're doing right now at Star Wars is you can actually get a lot of filler from the literature if you're willing to take the time to read it. Like I read the story about like Rey's parents and stuff like that and how she got on that planet. I like the story. Obviously, it's a little cheesy still because, it is what it is, but it was a great story. It was a great filler. It was nice to see they explained it.
Cheesy is great for Star Wars. I think cheesy belongs in Star Wars.
I mean, I didn't have an issue with it. Like I really enjoyed the book. And then they did there's literature coming out about the Acolyte to carry on that story. So it's going to be in comics. So if you do want to see some more of that story, it's going to be out there. So Star Wars is pretty fucking genius in my opinion with the fact that they're doing the literature to kind of fill in some of these gaps that people do. Like me, I really want the whole story. I don't care what anybody says. You might not like Rey or whatever. I want to know the whole story. So like I'm excited to see how they're doing this stuff. Like
what story with Rey? She's just going to be the best because best.
I mean, I get it. There was some stuff to her, but
there was a golden opportunity to have both Rey and Finn be excellent, well-developed characters, and they passed both of them by.
Yep, I agree.
That was part of the story writing, like switching, jumping
and again
with directors and stuff.
And
I do
writers,
think they can
switching
fix
directors
it.
and writers constantly is rough.
I do think they can fix it.
I would like to see some real character development. I would like to see some struggle. I would like to see her not just immediately excel at stuff like she did.
Poe was the best developed character.
See, Poe was
the best.
I know I'm jumping in the queue right here. I also going to call out Roaming Crow. They said Boba Fett's show was just Mando season 2.5. That is the best summary I've ever heard. It actually irritated me because I wanted Boba Fett the show. I'm not going to complain about more Mando because I love me some Mando, but it was weird.
I was sad we never saw Boba Fett just go ham. I was constantly waiting, and I was like, "This is it. This is gonna be the thing that sets him off." And he's just gonna be like, "I didn't want to be this guy anymore." And then he just goes ham on him, and he never did. And I was kind of let down at the fact that Boba Fett never was just like, "All right, you assholes called down the thunder. Here it comes." You know.
But
Give
I
me
will
that
say,
Disney.
80 actions line.
I will say that I want to be very clear about my opinions here. I have them. I have my problems with Rey. And Eric, to your point, I still like Rey's character. I still enjoy a lot of stuff, not all of it, but a lot of stuff from the sequel trilogy. I have serious issues with decisions that they were made. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. If they would have just made Rey our new Han Solo and made Finn our new Jedi, movie's amazing.
I would have loved to see Finn be the redeemed stormtrooper who becomes a Jedi. That would have been that would have been such a cool story.
But in any case, sorry to jump the queue.
But yeah, so a couple of things. First, there's some good and bad with Disney being in such control of the new expansion of like writing. And that's they get to control kind of like the narrative and direction and stuff like that, which means that writers have less like freedom in regards to some of the stuff that they write. Obviously, they obviously have options, right? They get to pick and choose how their story goes and stuff to a certain extent. But you know, Disney's going to be controlling that flow, or Lucasfilm or whoever is in charge of Star Wars is going to be controlling that. I do want to jump on the fact that her stepping away from Star Wars and going into a more producer role, I think fits her talents much better. And I think that paves the way for somebody like Dave Filoni, who actually really is passionate about the IP itself, to step in. I think we're going to see, hopefully, more consistent storytelling through all of it. And I think we're going to see that level of care that goes into somebody who's actually passionate about the IP that they're working on. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I hope I get to see Kathleen Kennedy continue to do stuff like produce movies, because she's, again, been part of almost all of my favorite IP franchises.
That is a fact.
From start to finish as a producer, and did a phenomenal job. I mean, she's been nominated for what, like 6 Oscars?
I can look this
I don't know
up.
if she's won any, but the fact that she's been nominated more than once is phenomenal, right? Like it's
8 nominations.
Yeah, 8
for
nominations.
Producer, and 5 for 5 of the nominations were for E.T., The Color Purple, Munich, Warhorse, Lincoln, and The Sixth Sense.
Oh, Color Purple is such a good movie. Anyway, Bones, what you got?
What the character, I kind of agree with Ryan. I do like Rey. I like the potential of Rey's character, and Daisy Ridley's a great actress.
Absolutely.
And so I do hope. I know they're already talking. They're making the trilogy, and they're talking about the same director for the whole trilogy for the next set. Let's do that.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
And there's like maybe talks of a Rey spinoff movie still happening. If they use Rey and give her some character development, even in that story, something to struggle against in that story, I think it could be a good movie. So I could definitely enjoy it. I also have a little bit of concern with Dave Filoni, in that I think that obviously he loves the IP, maybe a little bit too much sometimes, because like in like look Ahsoka Tano, he put all of this really deep cut lore kind of stuff, and it made it hard for casual viewers to follow. Which, don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, but if it's not making money, if it's not getting casual audiences, it's not going to continue. Like as we just talked about,
there's only so many hardcore fans.
And so if you fill all of this with like, I have to do a bunch of homework before seeing this movie, then it might also become an issue. I think Dave Filoni is a good choice, but I just hope that he realizes what he has to do there.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to end up with the Endgame problem, where Marvel fans had no idea what was going on going up to Endgame because they haven't watched the last 25 years worth of movies.
I think the nice thing, though, that Dave Filoni does is he does gear stuff towards like hardcore fans, and then there's stuff for the casual people. So Star Wars has a great mix where where stuff like that happened, like the Ahsoka show. You had to know some stuff already. It helped watching it, but then you also had other things like Skeleton Crew. You didn't really need to know shit when you watched that.
Didn't do that great though.
But
Even though
Yeah,
it
which
was a great
surprises me. I liked
right,
it, but it did
okay,
not do
Andor's the same thing. You didn't need to know shit about anything when Andor came out. So like, they do make content geared towards people, and then they also make content that's geared towards everybody. So I do like that though. So like, I'm fine. Like if Ahsoka continues on the path of like, you probably should have watched Rebels, the TV show first, and things of that nature to kind of get into that. Just because he's pleasing fans with that show, knowing that it's gonna do well because there are a lot of Star Wars. It's probably like the biggest IP on the planet. So like it's always going to do really well. And then they do make the content like the Andors and stuff like that that kind of brings everybody in, even the non-Star Wars fan, the people that are like, oh, fuck Jedis. And then you can be like, wow, we got a great show for you. It's Andor. It's spies, rebels, and guns. So like we got a little bit of everything for everybody, which is one thing I liked about what Kathleen and Dave Filoni kind of did with it. Was really, they expanded it to such a degree that it was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Like almost like completely with what you said. Like the Star Wars has so far been making both content, but that's what I'm saying. Like I'm excited about Dave Filoni taking it, but I just hope that he realizes that like that's something that is necessary, and that he doesn't just try to like make it for the current like established fan base with all these like deep cut lore. If they put in like Easter eggs and stuff where it doesn't like you see in a lot of Marvel movies, there are so many Easter eggs that don't fucking matter at all. Like they're irrelevant to the story, but they're like nice little winks at like hardcore comic book fans. Like some of them are crazy that like you would not know unless you've been reading Deadpool for the entire time it's been out, right? Like there's stuff that's just really
like
in there.
The feet joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect example.
I hope that it does well. I want to see it do well. I think Filoni couldn't do it. I have faith in that he will do something good, but I just hope that he, like I said, just keeps that in mind and isn't trying to like allowing other people to make these stories how they want to make them as well.
I think he will.
I think
he's smart enough.
We always need more Alan Tudyk.
No joke. God, I would watch Alan Tudyk in anything.
Yeah, big
again, Matthew
shout
Wilder.
out.
We need more Alan Tudyk. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely, in everything. I don't care what it is. God, that derailed me at the Alan Tudyk comment. Wildman.
Yeah, Roman Crow
person.
got me with Darth Arms a minute ago. I absolutely love that. The Darth Arms.
But yeah, it's important for IPs, especially the size. If you want them to continue going, you have to constantly be pulling in new fans. You have to be able to bring somebody in so they get interested in the stuff that you made 20 years ago, right? You don't want a Star Wars fan that watches one show. You want a Star Wars fan that turns around and watches all your shows. So yeah, Dave Filoni is going to have to meter both, again, the deep cut stuff with being able to draw in a new fan base. So we'll see how he does. I mean, I'm hopeful. He's been good so far with the stuff that he's worked on. So again, we'll see where it goes. And this could be a massive failure. There's always that potential that he's just not the right person for the job. And it is what it is. We'll probably see some good stuff, some bad stuff, a couple of roller coasters, and then a shakeup down the line. In the same way that, just because Kathleen Kennedy was a good producer and executive producer and had a lot of experience with Spielberg and Lucas working on a lot of their IPs, didn't necessarily translate over into being a good creative director for Lucasfilm. And that's fine. That's not taking away from her talents, which obviously as an executive producer and producer for movies was phenomenal. I mean, that is a resume that would put most other directors to shame. Or producers, I should say, to shame.
So we are running a little long, but what I do want to bring up real quick is this highlight for Kathleen Kennedy. As much as she's been controversial and some people dislike, things like that, Star Wars Force Awakens was her best release. 2 billion worldwide. Star Wars The Last Jedi, 1.33 billion worldwide. Rogue One, 1 billion worldwide. Rise of Skywalker, 1 billion worldwide, and then the Solo movie, 392.9 million. A little drop off there. But when you look at that, like even though all those movies, like we're super nerds, basically. We sit around here all day and talk about this stuff and watch this stuff and absorb this content. If you think about it and all the stuff you see and read where people are unhappy with what she did, how she did it, all these different things, they're still watching the content, so it's good. It might not be the best. It's still good because they're watching it. And for $1 billion or $2 billion, you watched it more than once.
Yeah,
I can say I have not watched any of the sequel trilogy repeatedly. I've watched them all once, and then that was it.
Somebody
okay,
called
you're
the
one of the
Last
few.
Jedi the first $1 billion flop, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense because it didn't flop. It still made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's
oh
hard.
no,
it's hard to
I
call
only
something
made $1 billion. Like,
yeah, a billion with a B, billion.
All right, guys. I know we're getting close to the end of the
Kathleen
episode
Kennedy's
here.
number one mistake, though, not putting the original trilogy characters in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, that's fact.
Fact.
They're there now.
Yeah, they are now. They fixed it.
They fixed it.
So before we close out, guys, I do want to kind of get back on our script here. Let's look at predictions for the Star Wars franchise going forward. Has anybody got any major grabs?
I'm just excited to see the Ryan Gosling
Starfighter?
Starfighter. I'm really hoping they take some stuff from Rogue Squadron, the books. There was a lot of amazing characters in those books. And I really think that there's something they could do there with it because the timelines would fit with those characters being alive at the current moment and being of an older age like Ryan. So that show or that
Did you
movie
say
has
older
so
age
much.
Like Ryan? Hold on.
Not like Ryan Gosling, not like Ryan.
Right. I thought you were talking about that Ryan. I was like, you're a jerk. Like, you're
just
older than
applying
he
the
is. You
But yeah,
That's
so-
right. I ain't got no color left. I get it.
But so like the nice thing is they can easily work it into some of the books that were really heralded and loved by fans. So
perfect.
that's
perfect
the one thing I'm predicting
for-
is they're going to take from the books.
perfect opportunity for this Starfighter show to bring back the actor who played Wedge Antilles and have him be the grizzled old like pilot coach.
Right, straight
Perfect
up.
opportunity for that. That was a huge miss that we didn't get to see any cool Wedge Antilles shows.
They got to bring
one
him
of my
in.
favorite non-Jedi characters in Star Wars. That dude was an absolute beast in that X-wing.
They made this like with Rey. Like the point was to make like strong female characters. I don't know that this is something that's probably even likely to happen. I have a strong female character. This is already established that I want to see. Like, give me some fucking Dr. Aphra live action, like a movie, something.
I'm down.
She deserves. Like that character's great.
Yeah,
The comics
more
are
Dr.
great.
Aphra would be amazing. Like, I was actually just talking about this with a friend of mine. Out of everything that I've ever read about Dr. Aphra, I only have one minor complaint, and it's a little bitty thing. And that's that I wish her droids were not that classification of droids. Like, I wish it wasn't an astromech and a 3PO droid, right? Like, I wish it was just two random makes of droid that...
Ryan just wants Gonk droids for everything. Just
Hey,
replace
Gonk-
all the droids with Gonk droids.
Gonk needs some screen time. But no, that's my only complaint about Dr. Aphra. I think that is a wildly, that is a great character, needs her own stuff. 100% agree.
All right,
And
last.
All right.
I have one thing I want to ask everybody. Who's everyone's least favorite Star Wars character?
Ooh, very difficult. I'll tell you, I dislike what they turned Boba Fett into. So originally he was one of my favorite, and then whatever they turned him into by the end of the show, that wasn't Boba Fett anymore. So whatever that was, that's my least favorite character. Whatever that
disagree
was
with
at the end.
Everything
Old
you
man
just
Fett.
said, like
Boba Fett would
everything
never
you just said.
hug people by the end of it. Like he's like, I just want to hug you. I don't want to shoot anybody. Hug me. Come here. Like, no, bud. You would incinerate everything.
We have different memories of that show, but anyway.
Yeah, Eric's just showing his ass a little bit
Bones.
on that one.
Bones, what do you got?
No, that's what he turned into. Hug me.
I don't know, man. I can't like.
I've got
fucking
one that
Count
jumps.
Dooku, because I just don't like Count Dooku. He was fucking very
Oh, I
annoying.
love Count Dooku.
I mean, he's a good character, but like he's a good character for the story, right? But I just
Yeah.
don't like him personally.
That's fair.
Would not be friends with him.
No, I don't. Yeah, he seems pretentious.
He's got some great lore to him, though.
Yeah,
He does. He's a great villain.
Yeah, like you don't like him
like
because you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, who you got?
Oh man, probably Watto. I
Okay.
don't even have a good reason for it. He just bugs
It's
me.
fine. Chopper for me.
Oh,
I
shit,
hate that droid.
yeah.
I have never
I changed my
cannot
mind.
stand
I
that
changed
droid.
my mind. That's actually my
Yep,
answer
yep.
too.
Yep, Travis has got me. Chopper.
I watched like 4 episodes of I blanking
Rebels.
the name on the show, Rebels.
Rebels.
And I was like, I'd get rid of that robot in a heartbeat. I'd have blown
Mhm.
that thing up so fast. It's just out there intentionally sabotaging their missions. That thing is a huge liability.
Oh, huge,
Everyone's like,
huge.
He's a cute little spunky thing. And I was like, this is real life stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
at
gonna get
risk.
people
This is
killed.
life or death situations. I'm blasting that droid. No hesitation, baby. Like,
Yep.
he's not even gonna make it out the airlock. That dude is becoming my new toaster. Like,
Absolutely, Chopper drives. Now the live action Chopper, they did a lot better job.
oh,
with.
hated him in
But-
Rebels. Absolutely
yeah,
hated
hated
that
him
stupid
in
robot.
Rebels.
But on that note, so big thing to let people know is we're going to next week we'll do the Union Arena. We'll talk a little bit more about that because we brought it up last time we were live, very briefly because we were talking about some anime stuff. So Bones mentioned how it was similar to another card game. What was it again, Bones?
Wise Schwartz.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about both of those a little bit and go a little bit more in detail with people, so they kind of with those 4 people, just to give you a better idea about it because I didn't know that much about it, and it's kind of cool to know the different games out there that you can get into that aren't quite as competitive as playing Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Pokemon.
Also, don't
with
forget
that,
to make
guys.
fun of Ryan and Eric for not knowing that Highlander was going to be a real film.
Yeah, that's fine. You
Definitely
can
make
come
fun
at me
of
for
him
that
for
one.
Yeah, that's
Whatever.
make
I
fun
am
of
going
both
to
of
step
them.
in. This is a good opportunity, guys. If you've listened this far into the episode, obviously you're enjoying what you're hearing. I'm going to take the opportunity to plug our merch store. We got some pretty sweet stuff coming up for our spring releases. Great merch stuff with a new company. I'm really, really happy with a lot of the stuff that we're doing. But you don't have to give us your money in order to support the show, guys. You can do all that fun algorithm stuff, likes, comments, engagement, and telling your friends to check us out. But most importantly, be sure and give us a follow because we know the way.
And with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. We're crossing the Nerdverse, and we will catch you next time.
See you guys.
I'm making stuff for Warcraft. Whoa!
It's nice.